Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have the brand new Tesla Cybertruck and we're installing two pods on the corners of the bumper. First thing we have to do in order to get the frunk out is actually lift these two tabs. There's two covers that expose two bolts on each side. So you just pry it with a screwdriver. And I'm going to go ahead and take out these four. These are 10 millimeter. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to unclip this top piece. It's held on clips. You can separate it here. Where is it? And it's just held on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clips. So we'll put that to the side. Now that we removed the top trim piece, there's two more bolts that is exposed, the 10 millimeter bolts. We're going to remove those as well. The next thing is to remove these pins, twist them counterclockwise, and just pull them out. Now that everything in the Cybertruck in terms of all the bolts and clips are removed, we get to pick up the front lining, but there's also a wiring harness on the driver's side. So if you tilt this piece up, all you have to do is just pull this out. Now you might have to press on that button to pull the plug. When removing the front, make sure it doesn't get caught up by the windshield wiper cap. So work on the passenger side first, and then just take it out. First step is to remove these two push pins, and that's going to separate the liner so that way we can fit the bracket through. Go ahead and pry this open. So we're going to go ahead and remove this 10 millimeter bolt. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the M&R bracket in between the plastic flap as well as the aluminum plate. And we are just going to hand thread the bolt. Next step, we're going to pivot this bracket, and then we're going to actually mount the light to it. So I've gone ahead and attached the cradle of the light, and then we're going to attach together to the M&R bracket. So we're going to use the supplied hardware. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this back bolt to the bracket. And that's going to secure the light in place. Now I'm going to rotate the bracket forward until this piece is flush with the bumper, and I'm going to tighten the bolt on the bottom. Now we're ready to do the wiring, and then we'll put the plastic back on. Now we're going to do the same thing on the passenger side and get these clips out. You just pry them with a screwdriver, tilt this back, remove that one bolt on the bottom. Okay, let's go get our bracket. So now I'm going to go ahead and install the light on the passenger side bracket with a supplied washer and a nut. I'm going to center it. It's a lot easier to attach the light to the mount, so I'm going to tighten it as much as I can but still allow it to swivel, and then we'll do the final tie down on the Cybertruck. And now we're ready to install this just like on the driver's side, in between the plastic and the metal piece. This is good, this is good, this is good. And I'm going to finger thread the bolt that we initially taken out. When we adjust it and we like how it sits, we're going to go ahead and tighten that nut. Perfect. Now we can start the wiring. We just tucked the wire behind the flap on the side. We're going to reinstall the two push pins, and we're going to run the wiring to the power switch. You do have auxiliary switches within the Tesla Cybertruck that you can control on the monitor itself, and you do have pigtails here that will provide that switch power. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take off this rubber piece. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the protective covering. Yeah, let me actually cut through it. It'll probably be easier. The two that we're going to use, red with the blue stripe, which is the positive, and then the brown with the blue stripe, which is the ground. So we're going to add an inline step-down converter just for the fact that the Cybertruck puts out 48 volts in these wires, and we need to step that down to 12. So you can purchase this on Amazon or eBay. They're readily available. So what it's going to do is going to take 48 volts, take it through this box, and output 12. So after looking at the diagram, the red and black are the power wires that go to the battery, and the yellow and black are the output device. So the output device is the light pod. So this one, the red and black, is going to connect to the power wires here, and then the yellow and black is going to go to the light. So what we're going to do, we're going to slip a crimp connector, and we're going to crimp it. So now we're going to connect the red wire to the red and blue stripe and crimp it. Now we're going to connect the black wire next to the red wire. We're going to connect that to the brown with a blue stripe. Okay, so now I'm going to use the M&R provided wiring harness to be able to fuse the two lights together and connect them to one power source here. It's a dual strand wiring harness, so you're going to have a red and a white. So we're going to choose the red to be the power of the lights, the white to be the ground. So we're going to connect the red to the yellow cable from the step down converter. The white is going to connect it to black, that's the ground. So that way we're connecting the individual lights. We'll do the same thing. So because the Y splitter is on the positive and the ground, we're going to have two ends of the wiring harnesses, one for the driver, one for the passenger. Let's work on the driver. I fed the wire from the pod underneath the splash guard and into the front area, and it gives us two wires. So the connections that we're going to do off the light will be blue is going to be the ground, and the brown is going to be the power of the white light, red to brown, and then blue to white. So I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. So to summarize, the power wire is red and it's connected to brown, and then the ground is white, it's connected to blue. Let's do the same thing on the passenger side. I'm going to feed the remaining of the wire in the engine bay, through the splash guard. Get it out on the other side here. We're going to do just like we did on the driver's side. We're going to go red to brown, and we're going to do blue to white. Crimp. Okay, so now let's go ahead and test it. I'm going to go ahead and close the splash guard back to normal, put in the frunk, and then go for a test drive. I think it's very bright and very useful. Thank you guys for watching. I know you're going to love the product. We've noticed one thing. You are not able on the screen to turn on, off, on, off, on. So I've tested that theory by turning it off, and I still saw voltage in a line. It's not the module, it's not the light, it's the electrical system of the Cybertruck. So look, right now we're showing 0 volts. Okay, I'm gonna go turn it on. So the light's on. There is 48 volts going to our module, and you can see it on the voltmeter, 46 volts. But when you turn it off, it's gonna go out gradually. So technically it will not allow you to cycle on off multiple times. You're gonna have to wait a minute in between for all the voltage to drop. I'm gonna turn it off on the screen, and then we're gonna hop and track the voltage. Now it's off, and let's go check on the voltage. It'll still have some voltage going to it. Here, see 8, and it's going down. 7, 6. Turn it off, you know that you need at least maybe a 1-minute cool down period in order to turn it back on.
I wonder why they do that for. Maybe someone can tell us why.
Maybe somebody can, but it's not a constant on-off like a normal 12-volt system. On a 48, it needs time for it to actually drain all the energy off. I'm sure there's some kind of a safety.